And then on top of it, you also have who's going to replace Brian Daboll in New York. I brought this up before. Just a buddy of mine is a Giants fan, and he had mentioned the idea before Daboll even got fired on Sunday, before they even lost to the Bears. He's like, I could see Mara going to Belichick, not because Bill's doing great at UNC, but because of that relationship. And it's gone so poorly with these last couple of coaches, which, as you pointed out yesterday, were Bill guys.
Yeah, you had two Bill guys.
Joe Judge and Brian Daboll. What do you think the likelihood is, now that we've had some time to think about it, that Bill is in play for that Giants job?
Well, it can't be 0% just because crazy things happen all the time. You told me he was going to go to North Carolina. I would have told you that was 0%, right? So I guess you have to sort of think a little bit differently. But the reason why I think it's still very, very, very low, and if you were asking me yes or no, I'm just going to say no, it would be they had a couple of opportunities to bring him in. You know, Brian Daboll he had that one good year with the Giants, kind of like somehow, some way got into the playoffs. But then it's been pretty rough the last couple. Bill Belichick's been available the last couple, certainly going into this season, right? Let's say Bill has his year off. He's doing all the media jobs or whatever. Brian Daboll has a bad year. They're picking pretty high in the draft. And there you go. You could have made that move this year. So now 10 games in, and Bill has become even more of a sideshow with all the stuff in North Carolina, all the interviews, the stuff with the girlfriend.
Imagine like the New York press with that. Imagine back page of the New York Post every single week with Bill and Jordan and all of that. Like, he really, outside of the one reporter from WRAL in Raleigh, pretty much gets the kid gloves down there.
It seems like Bill would have had a better chance.
Pablo Torre, I guess, but he's not on the beat. You know what I mean?
I would have said there's a little bit more of a chance if Bill was just doing the same stuff, doing like the Manning cast, McAfee, the stupid stuff with Lombardi. If he was doing that for another year, didn't have any of this other weird drama and a bad team at North Carolina, there might be like, hey, it's a couple years out. I mean, Pete Carroll was out of football for a couple of years, got back in. John Gruden was doing Monday Night Football forever, got back in, then he got fired again. But you know what I'm saying? Like, coaches can still, they can be like, oh, maybe he's got something there. And then the Giants come calling. Maybe it's a little late, but they come calling. The way things have unfolded over the last year, I would say, no, it's not going to happen.
What if Bill gets UNC? I don't think he's going to win another game. And I thought they beat Stanford. I thought they'd win a couple of weeks ago. Like, they had some winnable games in there. I don't think he wins another game.
They're 4-5 right now.
It's Wake, it's Duke, it's NC State. I don't think they win another game. We'll see. But let's play the game. Let's say Bill gets them to a bowl game. They got to win 2 more games, right?
Maybe the Fenway Bowl again. We could all
to be eligible. It doesn't even mean guaranteed they get
Good
one.
point. Good point. But like,
no, they would put Bill in a game.
That's what I was going to say. If they're smart, they're going to let Bill Belichick come to their bowl game and like turn it into a production. Let's say Bill gets to a bowl game.
Okay.
It started poorly, but it finishes on an upswing just by definition of making a bowl game.
Sure.
Mara's got the relationship with Bill. You're bringing Bill home to New York. You're bringing in someone who, in theory, can run a program and be a leader.
Well, and
is that an easy sell to Giants fans and to the city of New York? Is that an easy sell with Bill figuring things out as the year go along? If that happens at UNC, and now you bring him home to New York? That's a win. That's a short-term win on the back pages. Like, I could see that.
I would still say no. I think it, especially because the last 2 coaches that you've had are Bill guys. Bill basically convinced them to hire Joe Judge, and he's one of the worst head coaches in NFL history. Mm-hmm. And then you follow that up with Brian Daboll, who at least kind of popped in 2022, but then got worse in 23, worse in 24, and then this was going to be worse, and they didn't even let him finish the season. So 2 Bill guys. I remember he texted the wrong Brian about the whole thing.
I forgot about that.
There's all that stuff.
Until I was reading Charles Robinson yesterday.
Yeah.
When I say there's more smoke, Robinson threw out a bunch of names for the Giants job.
Okay.
First name he mentioned, Bill Belichick.
No. I mean, I get why you would put it out there. It's the most interesting one to talk about.
He also put out Mike McCarthy, Steve Spagnuolo, who's been there before as the D coordinator.
McCarthy probably makes more sense.
I think McCarthy actually makes a lot of sense. Brian Flores, who he mentioned, if he even wants to go there.
Brian, yeah.
And then he got into like coordinators.
Kafka's the interim.
Yeah, Jesse Minter, Clint Kubiak, Joe Brady, et cetera, et cetera.
I think the other thing
first name he mentioned, Bill Belichick, and I think Robinson's a pretty plugged-in guy. Maybe he's just doing it because it's interesting.
Yeah.
It would be interesting. I'd root for it. I don't think it'd work at all. It's not even working at UNC.
No.
So I don't think it'd work. But could I see Mara doing it? I'm starting to talk myself into that a little bit more.
So I think no. I mean, maybe like his owners make mistakes all the time because this would be a mistake. Because if you watch, if you see what he did with Mac Jones, where he wasn't even talking to him by the end, is that who you want to give Jackson Dart to?
No.
Like, that would be a huge mistake. It's not like you have an old quarterback that, like, hey, for 2 years, that's why I always thought he was going to team up with, like, Aaron Rodgers for, like, a year or two. Not that that could have been a long-lasting relationship, but for a year or two, maybe they kind of use each other and they have some success. He's not going to have success with Jackson Dart. Also, if you're sitting in there talking to the owner, and he's like, all right, what do you think for a staff? And he's like, well, I got 2 kids. I got Mike Lombardi.
Joe Judge.
Yeah, right. You're like,
Brian Daboll.
you're like, wait, no, hold on. We had those guys. We don't want any of these guys. I'm like, who's your GM? Mike Lombardi? Like, no way. I think he's got too much baggage.
Trust me, I don't think it would work. It's not even working for Bill at UNC.
No.
Could Mara do it? I don't know. I was already kind of interested in it yesterday, and then I read Robinson's the first name he brings up today.
It is amazing, though. They've had, counting interims, which you do because they've had 2 in-season firings since 2016. So basically, since replacing Tom Coughlin, obviously won 2 Super Bowls, they've had 6 head coaches since 2016. That is a rough go. Shermer was 2 and McAdoo didn't even make it through 2 years. Shermer was 2 and done. Judge was 2 and done, and then Daboll made it all the way into his 4th year and then got fired.
But I get it. Like, I get why people will be lining up for that job. Dart, Scadaboo, Neighbors. I mean,
yeah, that's a good trio.
All 3 of them at the
They're
moment
all
are
hurt.
currently hurt. 2 for the season, but I get why you'd want that job.
Yeah, no, it's not bad.